Shocked, right? You guys are shocked. Listen, I'm really excited about today because I learned a lot about a lot of you the other day when we did our little thing. Who wasn't there in the meeting? Raise your hand. I know, Dexter, you were a customer. You were there. Raise your hand, Richard. You want to come back? You come back. Troy was there. So I want to get together with you guys just to kind of recap what we went over. I think there were some great things that we took away, which we'll talk about at the end. What I want to talk about right now is the impact of the first sale to push past your limitations. And we all have limitations. There is something stopping every single one of us. Would you agree? Raise your hand. If you agree. Should be unanimous, right? I don't care who you are, how much success you have, where you are in life, there is something that is stopping you from doing something. And about 3 years ago, right, and I'm going to share my story. 3 years ago, July 27, 2016, I was in bed, my wife was away, and I had time to really think, and all of a sudden, this light bulb went off in my head, and all these thoughts started racing through my mind. So I took out a pad and pen, and I started writing, and I was like, I can't write fast enough to catch up with my mind, so I decided to just go into my phone and start verbalizing. I used the voice, and I just started talking about everything that I was feeling, and it dated back to when I was very young, when I was a child. And I'll recap, not to make it that much, but growing up, my father passed away when I was 2 years old. So my mother provided for me, my brother, and herself on a $16,000 a year income. She was a paraprofessional working for the Board of Ed, right? And we're these two kids living in a household with a single mom, had boyfriends kind of coming in and out. You know, she'd date someone for a year or two, and then all of a sudden there'd be somebody else there. And it kind of just like, you know, didn't mean anything then, but it created these barriers and these walls for me, these defenses, right? So these men that came in and out, like there were times where my mother was hit. I had to go live with my uncle because my household wasn't, you know, as solid as it should have been. So I disrupted my uncle's household and his relationship with his wife and my cousin's relationship with their parents. And it was like, you know, his life was put on hold because of me. So I started thinking about all of these issues that have been built up throughout the years. And I started to build up resentment. And that resentment translated into me starting to protect more and starting to want to provide more than I had, which we all do, right? Like any of you who have kids want to give your kids a better life than they had before. But what I realized is we actually created limitations where I wanted to do more, give them everything I didn't have, but I handicapped them in the sense where I never showed them what it was like to really have to dig down deep and struggle, right? So these were struggles that I was going through in my head. And all the things I disliked and started to hate my father for because he passed away, and because he passed away, all of these things happened, right? I had to stop and think about all the things that I disliked or I hated actually made me who I was today. Would you agree with that statement? So all the negatives were really positives because it made me more understanding. It made me stronger. It made me more of a fighter. It made me who I am today. So when I started to go on this negative tangent, I started to now find the positive in my negative, right? And all of these things had limited me until that point. So July 27, 2016, at 5 o'clock in the morning when I finally got done, I had to be at work here, right, at 7:30. And it was like, I'm exhausted, but I had so much clarity that I said to myself, this is what I have to start documenting. And that's when I started vlogging. That's when I started going on camera and I started like making videos and stuff and writing and becoming more inspirational and motivational and saying to myself, if I'm going through this, Chris Gonzalez, right, then I'm sure that there's someone else out there that might be experiencing the same thing. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. These were limitations that I still have, right? Because they're conditions that are so deeply rooted in me that now, in order for me to get it out, I need to go to the second creation, which was what? Document it, right? So I had it in my head. I now put it on paper, and I just walked it through my life. And I'm still struggling every single day with different things. And when I come over to you guys and I talk about, positivity and what you can accomplish, what you can do, I'm doing that because I see in your eyes and in everybody's eyes that there are limitations in there that have to be unleashed. So the number one takeaway that I want you to have from this meeting is I want you guys to go home, not now, not now, go home after this and take what's in your head and write it out. I never knew Sangita, her purpose was to take care of her family. And I actually saw a post of hers on New Year's Eve with her and her family. I never knew that Richard struggled with not having enough time with his brother. I didn't know that Imran thought he was lazy. I don't think Imran's lazy. But Imran's expectations of himself or his interpretation of himself is that he's lazy. The guy consistently does 20 cars a month. That's not lazy. He's always busy doing something. Very rarely do I see him hanging around. Maybe I just can't see him, right? But I didn't know that. I didn't know that David wants to have a family. Newsflash. In a few years, right? He's a young guy, but he's thinking about these things in the future. I didn't know that Ricardo realized that there was so much more to what he was doing. I mean, these are all things that were verbalized in our meeting the other day. And we just met for 1 hour, and people really started to open up. And I think it goes back to one thing. We as a society need to stop caring about what people think, about what we think or see about ourselves, and just start doing what the hell we have to do to make our life what we want it, not what someone else thinks it should be. That's the power of that conversation. That's the power of taking what's in your head and converting it to something that you document on a piece of paper, and then just walking those steps on a day-to-day basis, knowing that you're going to fail, knowing that you're not going to hit your objectives, knowing that you're not going to hit your goals or your targets, knowing that life's not going to give you what you want or what you need, realizing that life's going to give you what you deserve, and what you deserve is what you put in is in direct proportion to what you're going to receive in return. And we could talk about business, right? But your level of contribution is in direct proportion to what you're going to get in return. When you start to think about those things, it starts to open up possibilities. Like, how can one man or one woman do some things that are unimaginable, and others do absolutely nothing, wind up hobos on the street? How does that happen? It's mindset and its limitations. So you got to dig down deep and find out what your limitations are. It's why does a young rapper coming up in the game, right, take a bullshit $3 million deal, right, when he's worth $3 billion? Limitations. Because everyone in society told him you won't amount to anything, you won't become nothing. Yeah, you rap and smoke weed and you do this and you do that. And the minute they get the slightest bit of opportunity to have a little bit of fame, that's the plateau. That's where they stop. Not knowing that there's a bigger picture, bigger objective, bigger goal, right? Even if there's not. I don't ever want to be the person that looks back and wishes I could have, should have, I didn't, and here I am. So all of those things, and I know I'm saying a lot, and we're going to retain maybe 10% of it, but if there's one takeaway, it's realizing that you have limitations that you have to face, verbalize, document, and change. Because we all have the ability. If a person with no legs could go run a marathon, you tell me what the fuck you can't do. Facts? I want to drop the mic and walk away. Because if that shit don't move you, gotta hit it, guys. You gotta hit it. You gotta hit it. You gotta find out what's stopping you from doing what you want to do. I tell Steve all the time, and I'm gonna say this publicly. What the fuck are you still doing here? And I don't say that in a bad way. I want him here. I love him here. 50 cars a month. I want him to enjoy his life more than I want him to sell me a car. Those of you who are younger, you got your whole life ahead of you. You got to figure it out, man. You got to balance these things. You know, you said when I walked in, what am I doing on Instagram and Facebook at 12 o'clock at night? I ate goddamn pizza at 10 o'clock at night, and I said to myself, shit, what did I just do? I got to go to the gym. That's the discipline. That's the give and take. Risk, reward. Right? It was damn good.
You had 4 slices.
I had 4 goddamn slices. You damn right. I started out with 2 slices. 2 slices. 2 slices. I called my wife. I said, babe, I got your pizza from Old Bridge Pizza. Amazing pizza. I don't want that. I want a burger. I sent her the emoji, the red one with the, hashtag and the, you know what he's saying, right? Fuck you! Right? And I ate the 2 other ones on my drive back home. They were good as shit. They were so goddamn good. But if I'm going to walk that life and I'm going to take that step, I'm going to have to freaking balance it with something great. That's how we got to live, guys and gals. That's how we got to live. You know, I heard this the other day, and in the beginning I thought it was crazy. Like, no, I don't think it's crazy. But we have to become tough, right? Growing up, we deal with a lot of adversity, right? You're fat, you're ugly, you're poor, you're this, you're that, right? We heard this the other day. You're all of these things. And people are telling you, no, you're not fat, you're not poor. Don't let them tell you that. It doesn't matter what people tell you. It's what you tell yourself. If you're fat and you don't like the words fat, don't change because someone called you fat. Change because you want to become fit. Change because you realize that your body is your temple and it's the only place you have to goddamn live. Eat healthy, not because he said eat healthy. Don't not eat pizza because you shouldn't eat pizza. Don't do it because of what it does to the only place you have to live. That's what we got to think about. You got to take whatever is negative in your life and find the positive and find the energy in it to push you forward. Who asked me, Allow, what's his name? Mir from across the street comes over, wants to find CDK yesterday, has an issue. Oh, where's CDK? He's got a deal that they can't close because the stock number's wrong. They left on Mir. Oh, when are they coming back? Monday. Oh, okay, he starts to leave. I say, Mir, what's the matter? Come on. Right? In less than 3 minutes, I had his problem solved. Right, Phil? Less than 3 minutes. You know what he asked me? Did you ever work for CDK? No, I've been breaking my head for the past 6 weeks trying to figure this goddamn system out, which is antiquated and old and bullshit, right? No, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. A system that can't do this and can't do that in the future is not a system. It's a calculator, at best, right? I mean, you could tell by the people that came here to help you do the install, we're all older than you.
Oh my God.
You tell me how great the system is, right? But listen, finding positivity in the negativity is, maybe I have a future with CDK to get them to the next level.
Oh my God.
Something like that. But guys, listen, I swear, the biggest takeaway I want you to have is the impact of the first sale. What is that? Who's the first sale?
Ourselves.
You. It's me. I'm the first person that I have to sell. I have to sell Chris Gonzalez. If I can't sell Chris Gonzalez, I will not move forward. That's it. Drop the mic, walk away. That's it, guys. You guys be great.